Good morning, folks, and welcome to Power Negotiating. Today we're going to be talking about a little used technique that I call the professional approach to sales. Now, this can be used both in negotiating in real estate as well as in any professional sales approach that you're doing. And the reason it's called the professional approach to sales is that all professionals, if they're good, use this. Think about the last time that you went to see a professional, whether it was a doctor, whether it was an attorney, whether it was an accountant. What they did, first of all, was they qualified you. They made sure that they could, number one, help you with your problem. And then part two of that was they determined that you were qualified to go ahead and pay for their services, or that someone could pay for their services. And then they went ahead and they did a little bit of a brief interview. They found out what your problem was. With the doctor, they say, tell me a little bit about your situation. Where does it hurt? With an attorney, tell me a little bit about your problem. What exactly appears to be wrong? And then they ask you a lot of questions. They use open-ended questions to gather a lot of information. They use closed-ended questions to go ahead and clarify that. So they find out what your needs are. Then they do the presentation, where they match up your needs with the benefits you can bring to them. So this is basically a pre-close, where they go ahead and say, so what you're looking for is, if you have a pain in your elbow, you want this pain in your elbow to go away. Is that correct? And they get you to go ahead and verify that. Then they do the price. Great, we can go ahead and take care of that pain in your elbow, and it's going to cost you about $300, but we can go ahead and have that taken care of by your insurance. You'll have to pay the copay. And then they do the close. If you want to go forward, let's just go ahead and fill out this form and take care of that with the receptionist out in the hallway. Now, what they've just done is, you're going to say, well, where's the hard close? There is no hard close. What they do is, it's called a soft close, and it starts from the moment that you go in their office, where you are talking to them, and they're determining, in asking you these questions, if you can help them, and if they can help you. And as you ask these questions, what's going to happen is that you are being convinced that they can help you. So when they actually ask you for the order, when they actually say, great, let's go ahead and sign this, you've already established that you want their services. We can do the same thing in real estate negotiating. When we talk to people, the first thing that we want to do is we want to qualify them. We want to make sure that, number one, they own the property. Number two, we want to qualify them to make sure that they have the right to sell it and that we can be of help to them. If they say, I need all cash, close tomorrow, we might not be able to help them. So you need to find out very quickly what exactly the problem is. And then you do a needs analysis. You go ahead and ask some questions. This is the interview, where you're going to be asking them the open-ended and the closed-ended questions. And as you start asking them the questions, and you delve directly to what the problem is, you're steering the conversation to where you're going, what's going to happen is, subliminally, the buyer or the seller is going to feel, wow, this is exactly what happens in a doctor's office. This is exactly what happens in a professional's office. And so they will equate you with a professional. And the only reason you go to a professional is to have a problem solved. And you're not shopping around for the cheapest prices. You're there and you'll pay whatever you have to get this done. If you go to a professional and you say, what are your fees? Can you go ahead and do this? Now let me go ahead and shop around. You're probably not going to be waited on by a whole lot of professionals. They're too busy. And I have a statement that I've used forever, and it's not original. The best are always free. The value of their services more than pays for their fee. And that's what I want you to do. When you do it that way, when you act like a professional and use the professional approach to sales, what you're going to notice is the price becomes irrelevant. You're helping them with their problem. Now, as you're talking to people, I want you to ask yourself the question, am I treating them like a customer, somebody I sell something to or buy something from, or am I treating them like a client, a person under your protection? If you're treating them like a customer, guess what? They're going to be interested in the price. If you're treating them like a client, guess what? They're interested in the results. So if you want to get around a lot of price objections, start using this technique. Then what we do is we get a list of all of their needs, and we you always want to have a white or yellow notebook, and you're writing these down as you're asking these questions. Why do we do that? Number one, the reason we do that is it looks like we're paying attention, because we are. And number two, as we start writing these things down, the reason we do that is subliminally this will remind them of other professionals if they've used them. And as we start doing this, what they'll notice is, wow, this person is really interested in helping me with my problem. Now, if you're looking to buy someone's house and you start doing this, they're going to say, well, why do you need to know all this information? One of the phrases that I use is, I don't know if I can help you. I won't know if I can help you until I find out what your situation is, because every person's situation is different. And I don't know if your house is something I can do anything with, but I do know how to find out. Let me go ahead and ask a few questions and see if I can help you, and it'll be very quick and very painless. And if I ask questions that are too personal, just tell me, Reed, that's none of your business, and I'll shut up. Is that okay? And I ask them for permission to ask these questions, but I tell them the reason that I'm going to ask them these questions. And as I start asking these questions, I start out slow, and then I get bigger and bigger questions until I get to the ultimate question, the goal question, how much do you owe on the property? And if I do this correctly, this will just flow off their tongues. Now, what happens to me typically is that within 30 seconds, people are telling me things that they're not telling their priest, they're not telling their spouse, they're not telling their best friend, they're not telling their family members. And I had to tell them, whoa, 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 let's go ahead and try to clarify this a little bit. I'm interested in this, I don't need to know about your personal life over here. But if you establish rapport, and if you establish credibility, by wearing a tie, by asking the questions, by being well groomed, what will happen is they will start telling you things like they would a professional, because you are. Once we have gathered this information, we want to have a list of their needs. And once we have a list of their needs, we want to match up their needs with the benefits that we can bring.